northeast of England was the leader in the World Industrial Revolution. Many inventions that shaped the world came from our local region. Here is 7 inventions you might not have known are from the northeast. Number 1. The light bulb. A number of people around the world have actually been credited with the invention of the light bulb, but none other has a greater claim than Gateshead's very own Joseph Swan. After first demonstrating the invention at a lecture for the Newcastle Chemistry Society in 1878, Swan obtained a patent for his bulb, and 2 years later began installing them in homes and landmarks around the UK. Underhill, his home in Lowfell in Gateshead, actually has a blue plaque which bills it as the first house in the world to be wired for domestic electric lighting. But why is there confusion as to who actually invented the light bulb? Edison, who patented his light bulb in 1879, a year later, essentially improved on the design that Joseph Swan had patented. Swan had actually patented his first design over 10 years earlier. Edison's improvements made the product much longer lasting and therefore was the first to successfully commercialise the invention and bring it to the masses. After Swan sued and won against another manufacturer for patent infringement, Edison decided to enter negotiations rather than risk court proceedings, eventually leading to a merger and the formation of the Edison and Swan Electric Light Company. Number 2. Railways. Though other engineers had created working trains, including some in the northeast coalfields, it was actually George Stephenson's locomotion of 1825 that brought the new form of transport into mass use. In 1821, George Stephenson was appointed engineer for the construction of the Stockton and Darlington Railway. In 1824, father and son George and Robert Stephenson created Locomotion No. 1. This was the first railroad locomotive in the world to carry passengers on a public line. In 1829, the duo created the Rocket, and the Rocket was built for and won the Rainhill Trials, held by Liverpool and Manchester Railway. Though the Rocket was not the first steam locomotive, it was the first to bring together several innovations to produce the most advanced locomotive of its day. It is the most famous example of an evolving design of locomotives by Stephenson that became the template for the more steam engines in the following 150 years. The opening of the Stockton to Darlington Railway and the successes of the Rocket simulated the laying of the railway lines and the construction of locomotives all over the world. Number 3. Water purification. A modern-day innovator, Sai Sauda, developed technology that saved tens of thousands of lives by purifying contaminated water and making it therefore safe to drink. Developed at the Procter & Gamble plant on the edge of Newcastle, the powdered purification sachets have won Mr. Sauda a number of global prizes and the praise of former US President Bill Clinton. Number 4. The windscreen wiper. The story of how the windscreen wiper was developed starts with Gladstone Adams. He is said to have thought up the windscreen wiper on the way home from watching Newcastle United lose the 1908 FA Cup final to Wolves, and the story itself has become quite legendary. Gladstone's occupation was actually as a photographer, having great local success opening a store in Whitley Bay in 1904. He then went on to become the official photographer for Newcastle United, hence that difficult journey back up from the cup final. Travelling home through April snow, Mr. Adams kept having to get out to scrape his windscreen clear, and his frustration led him to invent the windscreen wiper, patenting it in 1911. The prototype of Adams' mechanism is on display at the Discovery Museum in Newcastle. 3 years of development later, in April 1911, a patent was registered by Sloan and Lloyd Barnes, patent agents of Liverpool for Gladstone Adams of Whitley Bay. You can visit a commemorative plaque which is located on the west-facing gable end of the Ousburn Mission Building, which was very close to the house in which Gladstone Adams was born. Number 5. The lifeboat. After the shipwreck of the Adventure near the mouth of the Tyne in the 1790s, parish clerk William Woodhave won a competition to build a boat that could help future tragedies and remain afloat in stormy seas. His buoyant cork-based design, built of copper, was virtually unsinkable, and Woodhave's gravestone in South Shields immortalises him as the inventor of that invaluable blessing to mankind, the lifeboat. For his participation in the contest, the inventor was awarded just 1 guinea, a value equal to about 1/4 of an ounce of gold. Number 6. Matches. When Stockton chemist John Walker discovered that a stick coated with certain chemicals burst into flames when scraped across his hearth, he invented the world's first friction match. He refined his idea and began to sell them packaged in a cardboard box with sandpaper for striking it, but declined to patent his invention and saw it copied therefore by many others. After this, another man took over the business and subsequently marketed his brand of the Walker match far and wide. Walker did receive, however, posthumous credit for the invention of the match. And number 7, Lucozade. In 1927, a chemist named William Owen invented a drink called Glucozade in his shop in Barris Bridge in Newcastle. The glucose drink was designed to give energy to sick people recovering from illnesses such as cold or flu. It was actually therefore first used by hospitals throughout Britain as a medication. The name was changed to Lucozade in 1929 and became a symbol of recovery. In the 1980s, it was rebranded as a sports energy drink rather than a brand associated within a 1927 chemist. What Northeast inventions have we missed out of this first video? Comment below and let us know. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to hear part 2 of this video,